Hey guys, welcome back to another tea time. Well, we're not having tea today. Another catch up session. Today, I decided to get a little bit up close and personal. Oh, this is so good. I did the most. All right, so I decided to get a bit up close and personal today. It is February, and though it is the month of love and everything, it is also quite an emotional time for myself and my family because just this past weekend marked 5 years since we lost my eldest sister. And I thought that I should share how acting, being an actor, helped me through my journey with grief, healing, and just accepting that just horrible experience, I guess. It's quite difficult because even like on social media and whatever, I've never really like shared a lot about losing my sister and whatever I would be going through. Sometimes I'd literally type and then just delete the entire post. And I think part of that was because I felt like I also wanted to like protect my family because we are a rather private family. So I don't want to like trigger anybody or feel like I'm oversharing or what. I don't know. Like it's just, grief is just a very weird thing. So, but I have like in my healing process, I've also come to realize that I also am on my own journey and I need to process and go through it in the way that's, best for me while still being sensitive to everybody else. So I thought that I should share this video today, particularly because, well, it's currently what I have been introspecting about a lot lately. And yeah, maybe somebody else who may be going through it can take something from my own experience. So, my sister passed away in February of 2017. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. What I do want to focus on are like key moments in these past 5 years that have definitely that have had an impact or yeah, just are notable moments for me. And the very first one that I will start with is the very last day that I saw my sister alive, which was the 8th of February, Wednesday, the 8th of February, 2017. I was at an audition. I was going to an audition and she had accompanied me. And I was with her, my mom, and my nephew. And we were at the Sasani Studios. And I had an audition, and when I was done, I was sitting with her in the car because my mom and my nephew had gone into the shop, so we were in the parking lot, that little parking lot next to Sasani Studios, waiting for them to finish their shopping. And she asked me, she was like, so how was your audition? How did it go? And I was like, yeah, it went pretty good. It was an okay audition. It wasn't like amazing or whatever. So I was like, no, it was fine. And then she said, yeah, you are going to do really well. And so that's the thing about my sister. Her and I were very close. And she never had any doubt that I was going to make it as an actor in this country and beyond. She had zero doubt whatsoever. She was so confident about me, doing the most. So she was like, you're going to do so well. Yeah, when it happens, it's going to happen. And then she started praying for me. So this was the very first time that my sister prayed for me, for me physically, while we were together. So when people tell you they're praying for you, they're, wishing you well, whatever. But it's just a different kind of, it's like such a beautiful moment when a person actually prays for you. and it's sincere, and it's, coming from just a place of love and a place of really wanting you to win. And yeah, so she prayed for me, and she blessed my journey in the industry, and she was just like, she just kept saying how I'm gonna do well and how God must just bless my career and so on. And then I was like, okay, cool, amen, yes, and it was just a nice, warm, fuzzy moment between us. And then we drove home, and we came straight home to Secunda, and she was in a hurry. Her and my nephew still had a bunch of stuff that they had to do that week, so they were rushing off. So I remember we got the car, drove into our yard, and then I ran out of the car because I had to attend to Bubby. So I ran out and I went to my bedroom and I was busy. And then she called out to me from the front door, and she was like, Dee, I'm out. I'm heading out. I'll see you. And I remember, because I was so preoccupied with what I was doing, I just yelled back like, yeah, cool. Like, we'll talk. I'll see you. Drive safe, whatever. And that was the last time I physically saw my sister or spoke to her in person. And I remember how after she passed, which was like literally like 4 days later, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days later, I always used to, like, especially in the first 2 years, which was like the worst grieving process for me, I always used to say, I wish I went outside. I wish I came out, walked into the car. I wish I could have just put whatever I was doing aside for just 2 seconds and just like say goodbye properly, give her a hug. Yeah, I struggled with that moment for the longest time. So now how that has changed me now, or affected or impacted how I do life now, is that I'm very bad with goodbyes. I will linger when I have to say goodbye. But from the grieving journey, in the beginning, it was because of a fear of, oh my gosh, what if this is the last time I'm seeing this person? But now it's moved to me really just relishing in the moment, just, being present and cherishing that time that I am with this person. And I definitely love a lot harder, and I've always been a quality time person, but now even more so. Like, I appreciate time spent with loved ones so much. And yeah, that experience has definitely caused me to love so much more, to appreciate every single moment that I have with people. And yeah, man, that's definitely a notable moment. We're gonna challenge myself to get through this entire session with 0 tears. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Right, so, and then the next moments that I definitely want to share about is the jobs that I had and the depths of pain that I had to portray on screen. And just thinking about how before my sister passed, I had never ever gone through any excruciating pain. My sister was, I was 26 when my sister passed away, right? And in 26 years of my life, I had never gone through any excruciating pain, guys. I'm not saying I never felt pain or any kind, like, I felt pain, but I'm talking like excruciating, like, as losing my sister was literally the most, I don't even have the words to describe. It was such a jarring experience. It was the most, like, heart-wrenching, like, I was winded. I was devastated beyond anything I had ever experienced in my life. To this day, it is the most excruciating pain I have ever felt. And when I say I'd never felt any excruciating pain, I mean emotionally and physically. Like, I had gone through some disappointment, some heartache, what I had thought was really painful heartbreak. But up to that moment, that was literally the most excruciating thing I'd ever been through. So I booked my first job about 4 months after my sister passed away. So she never got to see me in this life on screen like that. She had seen me like, in an ad here and there and, small stuff, but she'd never seen me in a role, a big role. So that happened about 4 months after she passed away. And so we started shooting. And then I remember when I went to do the table reading for that show, Ambitions, it was at Sasani Studios. The table reading was at Sasani Studios. And I remember as I drove and parked at the parking lot, the same spot where we were the last time I was there for that audition, when I was with her, I remember I called my agent and I was like, oh my goodness, I just arrived for my table reading. And I just remembered that this was where I last saw, like on the day that I last saw my sister, we were here. And, my agent was very encouraging and like motivating. And yeah, I went in full steam. So we shot the first 13 episodes of Ambitions. And then they gave us the scripts for the next 13 episodes. And I remember reading what my character was about to go through and being absolutely shocked, scared, thinking what the hell is going on, because my character now, what she was about to go through, she was babysitting this child and then from the neighborhood. And this kid, she got distracted and this kid gets run over by a car and dies right there in the street. And it was such a wild thing to experience because that's exactly how my sister passed. Some speeding, reckless driver knocked into her and she died right there. And as an actor, you go to many different places to portray a character in the most real, in the most authentic way, in the most honest way possible. Then in the weeks leading up to this, I shared this with the close cast members that I was working with and one of the directors, and they were so supportive and they really held me down. But what I took from that experience was that, because one thing about my sister, she would go through whatever obstacle that she was faced with, she would go through it. Like she would just, whether it's at a slow pace or whether she just has to pick herself up and keep going, but she went through it. She never let anything keep her down. So for me, at that point, going through that process was the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I had to go through in my life. And I gained so much strength from it. I gained so much courage from it. I learned to confront places in myself, confront feelings, confront regrets, confront, any pain, any whatever that I had, stuffed in corners and not felt like I needed to deal with or whatever. And I had to confront those things. I had to deal with, why am I so angry about this? And why am I so, why can I not even say this out loud? And why can I not even look at this? And I think it definitely helped me to be a more honest performer, because you can't portray certain things, your characters, whatever it is that your character is going through, honestly, if you are faced with those things and you can't even be honest about them, because then you're pretending, and we don't pretend. We react truthfully to imaginary circumstances. And as an actor, you have to be so brave. So yeah, definitely that experience taught me to just go through it, to be bold, to be brave, to take your inner conflicts and your inner turmoil and everything that's going on in the inside and face it and deal with it and go through it. So now I'm a person who, I'm not even shy about the fact that I cry a lot. Or not cry a lot, but I cry easily. So if I'm very frustrated or if I'm in pain, I will cry. And I've learned to accept that it's okay for me to cry. It's okay for me to be vulnerable, because just as laughing and being silly comes naturally, why should I stifle this part of who I am? I am a deep feeling person, and I'm no longer ashamed of that. Do you know what I mean? I know that tears and the heavy emotions tend to make people feel uncomfortable, but confront why it makes you uncomfortable. Maybe you need to sit down with yourself and ask yourself why you are so uncomfortable with a person crying in your presence. But yeah, anyway, that's a chat for another day, I guess. But yeah, that was also another notable experience that I went through after losing my sister. And the next one was with MTV Sugar. This was just like one of those really strange things that happen. And I think that when we have lost somebody in our lives, somebody really close to us, I don't know what happens in the afterlife. None of us can ever say for sure, when somebody passes, what goes on. And, we don't know. We know our knowledge about that is so finite. It's so limited. So sometimes I feel like in our grieving, in our trying to make sense of things, we tend to look for certain stuff to make us feel better. Sometimes there really are things that you can't deny that are just like, wait, actually, when this and this happened now. Do you know what I mean? Like every time someone passes and you look back at your conversations or you look back at what was going on, you start to like piece things together and be like, did this person know they were going or what. But that's not what I want to talk about now. With MTV Sugar, what happened was I came into MTV Sugar in the second season, and it was a continuation of what my character's brother was now coming out of prison for having caused the death of his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's name was Tsolofelo. Guess what my sister's name is? Tsolofelo. And this girlfriend died by being run over by a car. Guess how my sister died? She was run over by a car. So once again, I was like, what is going on? Yeah. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to think too much about it. I'm not going to get too much into my head and look for things that I'm just going to go with this process as well. But when we launched the at the media launch where they, announced the cast and everything, they then announced when the premiere for the show was going to be. And it was on the 12th of February, 2019, I think it was. Yes, when my sister passed away, 12th of February, 2017. And I remember sitting there when they announced the date, and I was like, okay, keep it together. Like, don't tear up now. Like, oh my gosh, it's just another coincidence. And yeah, whew. So that was another interesting thing that happened during that process. I decided to take that as, because I was very sad that I was booking these jobs, and one of the people who were my biggest cheerleaders, who had zero doubts that I was going to make it, was not there to see me being great. And when that happened in that show, I really took it as comfort. I took it as, I don't know if it's true or not, but it comforted me. I took it as, I don't know if she can see me or not, I don't know, but I will just allow this to comfort me and say, well, it was just a what? I don't even know what to call it, but like a nice, I had a very warm, fuzzy feeling that in some way she was a part of that experience. Yeah. And then what else? What else can I mention about this journey? So those are three very key moments. And then after that, I think every single job that I've done to date, there's always been some hectic grieving. There's always been some hectic pain that my characters are going through. I do not know why. And I don't know why when I have to go and audition for those jobs, it's always the heaviest scene for the audition. And I don't know why I play pain so well. I don't know why I'm able to portray the pain so well. But one thing that I'm happy about is the fact that I'm at a place where I can heal others while I am healing as well. And I can give others hope while I am just growing my own hope as well. It's been such a hectic journey. I've grown so much. The fact that I'm even talking about this and I haven't choked up once. I mean, also, to be quite honest, there are good days and there are bad days. I could be having this conversation later in a couple of hours and be just a mess. So I've learned to take things a moment at a time and to not allow myself to be overwhelmed by thinking that I should be okay by now, or I shouldn't be crying about this by now, or I should be going to the cemetery, or whatever. Like, I'm so kind to myself with the whole grieving process, and I allow myself to go through whatever it is that I'm feeling, and just allow myself that space to feel, whatever it is that I need to feel. So I thought that I should just share that with you guys since I'm currently going through that right now. The 12th was just a few days ago, and it's always a bit of a sensitive time. So yeah, I hope that I was able to encourage somebody who's grieving or give a little bit of insight into the characters that I've played and the pain that I've had to portray on screen and what I was going through at the time. But yeah, I think those 3 moments I thought that I should just share with you guys. Anyway, when I started this channel, I did say that the point was to be honest and open and raw as possible, and share as much as possible about my journey, because very often we always see the end product. We always see somebody already made, we always see somebody already successful, and then at that point they tell us, oh, but I went through so many challenges, which is great. But there's also something about seeing somebody go through the most during. So yeah, I thought that I should just share that and let you in a little bit more. We are getting a bit closer. Hey, welcome to the family, to the new subscribers who have joined us. If you haven't yet, please do click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any more videos that I will be uploading in the next week. But thanks for hanging out. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to go through your feelings and process whatever it is that you're going through. Don't ever feel like there's a time limit to your pain and your grief. As long as you're being honest with yourself and you just let yourself go through whatever it is that you need to go through. I wish you guys love and peace, and I will see you guys on the next video.